Hello, welcome back to 026 Motoring for a car episode. So today I'm not doing a typical car review but rather an educative review. Now, this is the 2015 Mazda CX5 diesel. Now, the Mazda CX5 has been the best selling crossover in the Kenyan market for the last 2-3 years actually. The segment class leaders used to be the Toyota RAV4, the Honda CR-V and maybe the Subaru Forester, but now there is a new kid on the block, that is the Mazda CX5. So the Mazda CX5 comes with 3 engine options. There are 2 petrol ones, that is a 2000cc and 2500cc petrol. Both are naturally aspirated. And there is a 2.2 liter turbo diesel. Now the 2.2 liter turbo diesel is the most common car around, most common CX5 around, basically because it has a cheaper price tag. Yeah. Now currently most Mazda cars in the market, starting from the Mazda Demio, also called the Mazda 2, the Mazda Axela or the Mazda 3, the Mazda Atenza or the Mazda 6, the Mazda CX5 have diesel engines. The Demio has a 1.5 turbo diesel, the CX5 has a 2.2 turbo diesel. It shares that engine with the smaller siblings, that's the Mazda Axela and the Mazda 3, and the Mazda 6 or the Mazda Atenza. Now, maintaining those engines, you just need simple hacks. You just maintain them in a similar manner. That's why I'm using this Mazda CX5 to explain the maintenance aspect, but it's gonna apply to the Mazda Demio. The same 2.2 engine here is the same engine you're getting in the Mazda Axela and the Mazda 6, but they have different tunes, but their maintenance is pretty similar. Now, this 2.2 liter turbo diesel engine has been on the receiving end for quite some time, basically because it has been labeled unreliable. Now, today I'm not about to demystify whether the car is reliable or not, but I want to give you simple hacks on how to live with this 2.2 liter turbo diesel engine. And by the way, this engine is the most powerful motors torque in the class, because you are looking at figures in the region of 420 Newton meters of torque. That is extremely powerful, because cars like the Nissan X-Trail make around 200. That is almost less than half. Yeah, so 420 Newton meters of torque plus 187 horsepower makes it very quick actually. And on another ground, this is the only engine that gives you performance and fuel economy in one package. So basically a cocktail of performance and gas mileage in one package. You don't get those in many cars. You are either getting performance or you're getting fuel economy. Now, this 2.2 liter diesel engine has 2 main weaknesses regarding on how you can live with them, and they are the main culprits which normally lead to the problem of overheating. Number 1, from year 24 for the first generation 2012, 13 and 14, there is something we call a cooler bypass, cooler junction bypass. Here it is. So this is a plastic one. For those generations 2012, 13 and 14, they used to have a plastic one. Now for year 2015, some units have a plastic one and some units have a metallic one. The reason is pretty simple. Overseas, because we purchase second-hand cars, overseas Mazda issued a recall. So there are those owners who took their cars back to the manufacturer, whereby this cooler junction bypass was replaced by a metallic one. But there are those who did not do that. So if your car has arrived in Kenya and you find it has a plastic one, you can replace it with a metallic one. The reason is pretty simple. At high temperatures, the engine block normally has a very high amount of heat. So this bypass is going to, it will not withstand those amounts of heat. So most probably the coolant, when it's passing here, it will push and break this junction bypass, the plastic one. So the most recommended hack to ensuring the car does not overheat matters the cooling system. You ensure you replace this one with a metallic one. And the reasons are pretty simple. The metallic one can withstand all those high temperatures such that the coolant cannot leak. So number 2, ensure the coolant levels are to the recommended level at all times. That way you have an engine which cannot overheat because the coolant levels are on top. The junction pipe is strong, so the engine can cool the cooling system is healthy. So what happened when this plastic cooler bypass gives up? The coolant leaks. When the coolant leaks and the engine block is already hot, that's now where the problem of overheating comes, and the problems are later the replacement of the gaskets. So basically, because the car cannot cool itself pretty well and the temperatures are shooting, na wewe hujagundua, maybe you are doing a long distance, the bypass has already broken and it's spilling the fluid. After overheating, the gaskets will give up, they'll open, and that's how you are going to be in for expensive repairs. That's why most of the people will tell you, if you've bought a CX5, make sure you have some cash reserved somewhere for purchasing the gaskets. Yeah, gaskets replacement is a good solution sometimes, because maybe the car ilikuwa in overheat before and the owner maybe realized late and the gaskets are already giving up, but you can solve that before it reaches that point. Now, the metallic junction pipe costs around 6 to 10,000 or even to 20,000 depending on where you are sourcing it from. Yeah, so that's a cheap way of solving the overheating problem. And if you're using a 6,000 or up to 20,000 solving the overheating problem, it's pretty fairer than purchasing a new 2.2 diesel engine at 300,000. So hack number 1 was about the cooling system. Hack number 2, ensure your Mazda CX5 diesel breathes well. Now that has something to do with something called the diesel particulate filter, or if you like, DPF in short form. Now, DPF basically ensures that the exhaust gases that are getting out, or the particulates, they are held before being released into the environment because they are harmful. So it's a measure to make sure our environment is clean. Now that has an issue about the reliability of the car. Diesel cars don't like sitting for long. So if you bought your car and basically you are moving from Ngong Road to town daily, the car is not going to, the diesel is not going to burn effectively, such that the DPF does its function. So it's going to clog, and when it clogs, the car does not breathe well. So hack number 2 is about making the car breathe well. So you ensure you are taking your car for long distances once in a while, so that the car can hit properly and the DPF can also hit and release anything that may be on its linings. That way, that's why diesel cars should be for long distances once in a while. If you want to keep it short distances, go for the petrol versions. They are less stressful on that ground, but of course they are less powerful and they lack character on the road. Now, if you cannot take your car for long distances driving, once in a while, something we call Italian tune-up, you push the car to speeds of around 100 to 120 kilometers per hour, maintaining high RPM, something like 3,000 to 4,000 RPMs. So if you cannot take your car for long travels once in a while and make sure you are very hard and rough on her, you push the gas pedal very hard, you can do something we call a DPF regeneration. Basically, there is a machine that is connected to the car, and the engine is heated to some level so that some particulates in the engine setup get out. Now that one is normally a temporary solution, that regeneration. The best hack, though it's not environmentally friendly, is doing a DPF delete. So the DPF delete is done in 2 phases. Basically, you are removing the DPF and you are making some holes to that DPF. After making those holes, you'll realize that an engine check light comes, or a warning comes on the dashboard, basically meaning someone has interfered with your DPF. So after doing that physical, you have made the holes, you're going to do something called a software cancellation. So the software cancellation basically disconnects the car's computer or the car's ECU from knowing whether the DPF has been interfered. When your DPF clogs, there are symptoms that the car will behave in a funny manner. Number 1, because it's not breathing properly, there is a problem. It will go into limp mode. So basically the car will lose power. Unafinya gari sana, you press it hard, you are hard on the gas pedal, but there's no response. Basically, the car's computer senses the car is not healthy, so it's trying to limit power. So when the DPF clogs, the car goes into limp mode, and you get that feeling of losing power. Another consequence, which is expensive, that can come when a DPF is clogged or is bad, is the turbo failure. How does that come about? Now, when the exhaust gases are leaving the engine and they are getting to the DPF and they eventually get out and they find that the DPF is already clogged, they'll come back to the engine. Now when they come back to the engine, the first thing they are killing is the turbo. So when your DPF is bad and you don't solve that problem quickly, most probably you are going to be in for a turbo replacement in the region of 60 to 70,000 Kenyan money. So apart from servicing your car religiously, that is observing a service intervals and fueling at reputable gas stations, because diesel engines are pretty sensitive to fuel. Ensure your diesel engine, your Mazda diesel engine, cools well and breathes well. Those are the two main hacks if you want to easily live with a Mazda diesel engine. Whether it's the Mazda Demio, the 1.5 diesel, whether it's the Mazda CX3, the 1.5 diesel, whether it's the Mazda Axela, Mazda Atenza, Mazda CX5 2.2 diesel engine. The hack is pretty simple. The cooling system has to be healthy. The breathing system has to be healthy. If you do those, it's gonna be a stress-free car ownership period. If you don't take those preventive measures into action, most probably you are going to join that bandwagon team saying Mazda diesel engines are unreliable. So those are the simplest hacks to live with the Mazda diesel engines. If you want a stress-free life, but you don't want a powerful car on the road, you can get the 2-liter version of the CX5, which is a lackluster engine and lacks character, or you can get the 2.5-liter CX5, which is thirsty, but it's reliable, and at least the ownership costs are pretty low when you're looking at the maintenance, but you're going to frequent the fuel pump. Yeah. So that's the end of this video, guys. Let's catch up on the next one. And in case you have any question regarding any car from Mazda, Toyota, Subaru, literally any motoring question, drop it on 0 to 60 motoring. We will address it in the shortest time possible and give you all the car advice you need. And if you want to buy a car but you don't know the pros and cons of that car, you can send us that message. We will guide you through and we can help you source a clean car in the Kenyan market, because there are things you should do, and most important, there are things you should not do when buying a car. So bye guys, let's meet next time. Acha nichemshe diesel.